Welcome back, friends. This is DrSHREEVEERA again. Today, we're going to talk about episode 3 of Fairy Gone Anime Review. This episode was quite a little different, less on the action and more on the narrative, which is always good because I want to get connected with the characters. What was interesting in this episode is we get to know a lot of about the fairy tome, which every single fairy hunter is behind. The fairy tome is nothing but a bunch of books. There are like four together. There's the red one, blue, the black, and the white. Each single fairy tome was published by very famous fairy journalists, which was released around 200 years ago. And each one has their secrets about the fairies, how to like tame them, how to use them for war. We get to see more about the backstory of new different characters we were introduced in episode 1 and 2, especially Wolfram, how he lost his wife and his daughter in a war which took place around a few decades ago. In this episode, what was interesting is the introduction of a new character, that is Sweetie Bittersweet, who is like a new character introduced in this episode who plays a central role in the plot. She's also kind of assassin who's behind the Black Fairy Tome, which was initially robbed by the Ver in the first episode, which was found to be a fake. So our Wolfron character's backstory, followed by the backstories of little bit of Maria as well as Free. Free was a central character in this episode. Free again goes sneaky behind the fairy tome. He actually conducts the fairy welfare organization who tell him that where the Black Fairy Tome, the tome pages are hidden and the power behind them. The Black Fairy Tome pages actually are with a doctor who has a research, who lives with a subordinate. So Sweetie Bittersweet definitely goes behind the black pages, and we get to see a sneak peek behind the the old colonel who has played all this entire game, as well as Veronica, who again shows up in this episode. And one special thing is Fairy Bittersweet's fairy is extremely different. It has the power of possession of characters. That's what was hinted at the end of the cliffhanger. It is a brilliant episode. Hope this momentum goes forward into the episode 4 as well. And this episode definitely intrigued me a little. We get to know about the characters, but still it's too early for me to get attached to the characters, emotions, and backstories. Continue and stick with my review so you get to know more with a bunch of clips. Thank you guys for watching. This is DrSHREEVEERA, and stay with me. Do subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon. Thank you guys. The basic plot premise of episode 3 revolves around Free and Maria, who are sent to the Ministry of Fairies regarding an old text with the name Black Fairy Tome. Unlike other fairy tome texts containing fairy knowledge, this is considered the black sheep of the lot. Many would go to great heights to possess these ancient books. The main episode highlights include the blue fox, which is the cute little pet. Do you guys forgot it? It has a name now. It is Kima. So cute. I just want one. And then we talk about the hunted fairies. I'm starting to feel sorry for these fairy beings who were hunted by humans to use in the war. There is definitely an information overload. It literally felt like I suffered an information overload during this episode. We went into the origins of fairies known as Imaginals that were hunted down by humans and turned into weapons of war. And there are more of those fairy books. Are there different colors? Yes, there are like 4: white, black, red, and blue. And Wolfram. Seeing at the beginning, Wolfram, Free's old war comrade, found his home destroyed and learned about the death of both wife and daughter. I felt for the dude, and he's driven by the hate and revenge, which is probably why he joined the mafia group. I'm not sure of his motives yet. And there is definitely a setup here. No way I could see this coming. Maria and everyone being set up by Damien Carme from episode 1, who is in cahoots with Maria's childhood friend, Veronica. The Black Fairy Tome Veronica stole in episode 1 was a fake, so the fake one was used for this setup. There are lots of questions to answer regarding this series, but the main one from this episode was this. What was the purpose behind Damien setting this up, right? Then, the ending of this episode left me pining, where Sweetie revealed of being in possession of a fairy and halting Maria from shooting her gun. Sweetie's fairy looked like it was taking possession of Maria, and then there's a thick air of grey dust surrounding everyone. I was so confused as to what Sweetie had done to Maria or what actually happened. Nothing less, it was a good cliffhanger. Definitely, there are so many themes and trivia in this episode which were quite fun, like, for instance, the fairy soldiers. During the unification war, around 300 soldiers were used, and by the end, only 17 remained. And then there's the mysterious bell ring. Strange custom in this world, right? Men of Timon use the city's evening bell as a signal to start drinking. And then we are introduced to Imaginals, who are basically fairy beings in their childhood form. Possessing the fairy organ allows humans to become fairy soldiers. And then there's a huge talk about fairy tomes, which was introduced in this episode. There are blue, red, white, and black texts containing fairy knowledge and technology within them. The first original text was created over 200 years ago. The black fairy tome is different as it contains contents about fairy possession. Overall, on the other hand, there are characters like Wolfram. This episode revealed the moment he lost his daughter and wife. I felt for him, but definitely I need more to go on from here. Fairy Gone did a great job giving us more plot reveals this episode. I am latched on as of now, but that cliffhanger left me in confusion. What did that sweetie woman do to Maria? But it was a good way to end the episode. There was a lot to process this week, and might take me a few days to process everything. And wait for my episode 4 review of Fairy Gone coming out tomorrow.